It's the Weekly Wrap with your host, broadcasting legend Bruce Wolf, and his trusty sidekick, comedian Tim Slagle. And now, without further ado, Bruce Wolf.
Yay! Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. And now it's time for my favorite part of the show, wherein I guess what's in Tim's background. And Tim, I'm going to say what you've got is your two inflatable rubber dolls that you're allowed to have under the new tariff system from China. But you could actually just live with one because it's hard enough to blow up one of them. Am I right about that?
I did not hear about the rubber dolls, but
Oh, okay.
I did this one for you, Bruce,
Okay.
because we had talked about this before.
Ah, yeah, the taco. By the way, I got that rubber doll thing before I forget from Nate's fortunate son, who tweets to me all the time, and he's a pretty funny guy. But yeah, so this is one of those things that I have not really paid enough attention to. But this has some kind of acronym with the tariff system. Am I right with Trump?
Correct. It's Trump always chickens out.
Ah, okay,
which is what I believe you said
Right.
last week, or maybe
Okay.
the week before, about China, that he
Yeah.
chickened out. I don't think you used those words, but
Right. So yes, I did see that.
so now it's a trope. Now it's going all through the left-wing social sphere.
Yeah, well, that.
But,
By the way, I do love the Doritos Tacos Locos. Those are really good Supremes from Taco Bell. Although,
you mean the orange ones?
yeah, the orange ones they come off on your hands, like Cheez-Its or cheese balls or whatever. Yeah, they're really good.
I tried one. It just kind of seemed like I was tasted like red dye. I didn't.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't really see the difference. It's a taco flavored taco.
Yeah,
is kind of redundant.
It's a facsimile of Mexican food. It's a reasonable facsimile.
No,
I would
I'm
say.
just talking about the merger of Doritos and Taco Bell.
Oh, right. Yeah,
They have
sure.
an agreement with Pepsi. I see that they're selling a Baja Blast Mountain Dew, which was previously only available at Taco Bell, but now you can get it in the stores.
I love the fusion of fast food restaurants. We could talk about this forever. Remember, and I don't know if it exists anymore, but it was Kentucky Fried Chicken and
Dunkin' Donuts, Krispy Kreme. Somebody had a like a chicken sandwich on a donut.
I think it was like Long John Silver's or something like that. Kentucky Fried Chicken, but
Oh yeah, those were always the same store because it was pretty much the same thing.
Right. It reminds me of when my grandfather, who ran a hardware store and a little roofing thing, decided to sell candy. And and I just imagined him. I never saw him, but I imagined him, with the dirt under his fingernails, going, "Oh yeah, would you like these jujubes here? Okay, yeah. I don't have a scooper. I'll just grab him a handful for you, right? We'll discount it because it's my grimy hands.
We always buy our candy at Menards.
Oh sure,
because it's a great price. It's to those theater boxes are $1.25 at Menards.
Right.
So
By the way, did you
plus
see
11% off if you fill in the rebate form and mail it in?
Did you see? I saw this statistic that apparently over the Memorial Day weekend, and they say nobody goes to the movies anymore, but there was a record set for popcorn, which was and they did it like in kilograms or metric tons, which I believe Jonah Goldberg tweeted. The only thing that's measured like that is cocaine or not popcorn, but I'm just but that gives the lie to the fact that people, and they're not still going to the movies. It's a Yogi Berraism. People aren't going to the movies anymore, but they're setting popcorn records somehow. Maybe those three guys who are going are getting the free refills because it's so expensive. I don't know.
We went to the movies last week, we happened to be there on the premiere of Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, okay.
And it was I did not realize what a big event the Lilo and Stitch premiere was, because they were like girls in Lilo I don't know if it's Lilo or Stitch is the character with the big mouth.
I hesitate to ask why the grown man Tim Slagle is going to a little kiddies movie.
I didn't. It was just the say AMC 16. So it was there. We were watching. Yeah, we went to see something else.
And what did you see?
Last Rodeo.
Which is with whom?
Yeah, I can't remember the guy's name.
Right. Okay.
If you saw him, you'd recognize his
All
face.
Right.
He's a Christian actor. It was an Angel Studios production.
Oh, okay. All right. I believe you now. I believe you.
But there was girls in Lilo onesies. There were girls that had their little stuffed Lilo there. And they handed out like Lilo. They had Lilo merch all over the theater. And I guess
Neil, you're thinking of Neil McDonough, I believe.
That is it.
According to my sources, Chris.
Yep.
All right. So real quickly here, I loved Trump's Memorial Day tweet. I mean, it just actually Neil McDonough apparently is in some Taylor Sheridan stuff.
There's been a couple Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah.
And he will not kiss anyone other than his wife on screen.
Oh man.
What?
No, but he'll still have sex, right? I mean, no kissing.
No, he is. That's why he's always playing a villain, I think, in the Taylor Sheridan
I
series.
see. So, I mean,
I think he was in Suits. I think he was in Suits as well.
Man, it's like having Mike Pence in your as a movie star.
He kind of resembles Mike Pence now that I think about
All right,
it.
So
he might actually play the Mike Pence story at some point.
I'm loving this. We're 6 minutes into the show and not even here for our raison d'etre, which is to provide everybody with the most succinct, penetrating political analysis you're going to get in the top 3 million. Is that Neil McDonough? Yeah, he does look like Mike Pence a little bit. So
with better makeup.
Yeah. So Trump, I loved his Memorial Day tweet because it's like, first of all, I think it was like Happy Memorial Day, which you probably shouldn't say happy, but okay, fine. A lot of people do that. And then it goes right into including the scum. And I mean, just like not 1 second, not a breath is drawn. And then he just rips everybody, for allowing illegal immigrants, all the criminals in it and everything like that. And I saw a Jeff Greenfield tweet about this. And you remember Jeff Greenfield from such starring roles as the Grand Inquisitor on Firing Line years ago. They go to Jeff Greenfield. So yeah, Greenfield says Trump's West Point commencement speech. Oh, that was his commencement speech. Was not just a narcissistic, deranged rant. It was an insult to the men and women of the Corps on the eve of Memorial Day, no less. His early departure, breaking from what past presidents did, was just another insult. Well, I mean, I don't know how this happens, that he gives the commencement speech at West Point, but would anybody be surprised? I mean, he didn't even say that John McCain was a war hero. So I got to think the graduates were expecting it and probably, how was his reception? And did they like it?
I actually think that he didn't deny that McCain was a hero. He just was not in his category
not his
of preferred heroes.
Yeah, right. The preferred type doesn't get caught and spend 6 years in tiger cages. No, so
give up information, which he admitted to, by the way,
okay.
if you remember. He
talked. The thing is that I mean, I just love that Trump takes that opportunity to make it about himself. However, I saw other tweets that said he did pay homage to these graduates who are going to be sacrificing in order to serve our country. And it's just like, you can't trust anybody because everybody's so selective in what they decide to tweet on. So I'm not even sure Jeff Greenfield was telling the truth about Trump's speech, which you'd have to listen to it in its entirety if you really wanted to be fair.
We don't have time for that here on the weekly.
I don't have time to listen to Trump talk about that. All right, so let's move on.
Just give me 280 characters of it, thank you.
Exactly. Here's a tweet from Julie Roginski on Trump's mental decline. She says, whoever she is, she says, stop sane washing Trump. The evidence of Trump's mental decline is everywhere. And I would say, who knows? Maybe there's something to that. But if Julie Roginski, whoever she is, didn't question Biden's mental condition, I'd say she doesn't have much credibility.
Well, that's why they're out. Well, that's why they're out with it. I mean, that's why
right.
Jake Tapper. It's because it's like we can't start that 25th Amendment stuff again.
Right.
If you remember it
Right.
from the first term, we can't start it unless we fess up on Joe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure. Look, I don't think that's a conscious conspiracy on their part. Just like I don't think it was conscious on their part to swing and miss on Joe for 4 years. I mean, the best conspiracies are the ones that are unwitting ones, I guess, which isn't actually a conspiracy. But yeah, that's what they want to do, obviously.
Yeah.
So, but by the way, who's going to be the
You
next
you trust
president?
them. You trust them far more than I do. You don't.
Yeah, I mean that's your problem, Tim. What can I say? I mean it's
When
probably
they
the
started calling January 6th an insurrection right away, I said that is
well.
a
Look,
Democrat
that
plan to keep him off the ballot. The word went out through the signal chat
oh my
to
God.
say insurrection, insurrection as much as you
Can't we
can.
just relitigate the Civil War again? What was the last thing? Not January 6th. No, no, we were relitigating the election, right? The 2020 election, which I would love for Trump somehow to finagle his way into a yet another term. Okay. I don't know how he'd do it, but if anybody can do it, he's the one who can do it. And still, even in the third term starting in 2028, be arguing about 2020. I mean, he'd still say that he had it stolen.
Well, they can do 10 years, right? So if he resigned
Oh,
halfway through,
I see the wheels turning. Don't burn up the tinfoil over your head with all that smoke from the thoughts that you're having emanating from it. Bruce Wolf and Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. Just for the record, technical workshop here. I didn't hear that intro, but I just intuited it. I assume I didn't talk over the deep voice staff announcer, but in any event, it's okay. So what should we go to here? There's a Wire Points tweet about Rahm having a great interview and basically saying that he's going to be he's running for president of the United States.
sure. Sure. And if he was about 2 feet taller, he might have a shot.
Yeah.
Because
Now
I don't know that we've ever elected a tiny president, have we?
Well, wasn't I always imagine Franklin Pierce being short, but I don't have any evidence for it. I don't know why I think that. Weren't they like Martin Van Buren? Weren't all those guys like just little guys? I mean, I know Washington was tall.
Yeah.
Lincoln was tall, and your average president is taller than the average American.
And Roosevelt would have been tall if he could stand up.
Oh my God, I just don't believe it. How could you do that? So Wire Points has this great interview of President Rahm Emanuel. He thinks so. I think it was in the FP.com, the interview with Rahm. And my reaction to that is, what are his qualifications? I would say, well, he was the mayor of a city near South Bend. So, he's as qualified to run for president as anybody else.
He has all the policy of Bill Clinton, but not as many fingers.
There you go. There you go. All right. Did you see Alex Salvi, who I believe is related to an attorney, the son of an attorney that I know, friends with in the Chicago area, Lake County as well. He tweets Pope Leo XIV this morning, a few days ago, met with members of SSC Napoli, the football club, which on Friday won the Italian league title. And I'm thinking, I thought the Pope was a Sox fan. Jeez. I mean, he likes soccer too. He kind of diminished the whole luster of being a White Sox fan. I don't think he can be both.
How long was he in Latin America though? So
quite a while.
Well, no, you can be both. All of Latin America is into baseball and soccer.
Oh, they're in both.
Now that I think about it,
yeah. How do they manage that? They must not. They probably don't get Netflix or something because there's only so much you can be into. I mean, I liked the Apple TV series about the coach who went over to England and coached the soccer club, whose name I want to say Joe and the Volcano, but I forgot his name. Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso. That's the kind. That is such a liberal's dream, and I can't believe that I liked that show. It was there's something wrong with me.
Coaching soccer in England?
I mean, but there were so many liberal bromides uttered during that. But it's fun. It was still fun. All right. Speaking of card carrying, actually, liberals can't even stand him. Keith Olbermann ripped Riley Gaines. Riley Gaines. She's the Olympian, and she's gone MAGA now. And her cause celeb is men shouldn't be competing in women's sports, and she actually ripped Britney Griner. Remember, this is the one that Joe Biden traded for the Russian merchant of death, and Britney Griner appeared to call Caitlin Clark trash and an effing white girl after falling out the other night. Now the thing is a lot of people are saying that Griner didn't actually say that. She said it was a bad call or something like that, and didn't say effing white girl, but whatever. But
get the lip reader. Get the lip reader.
Sure, absolutely. So, but meantime, Riley Gaines is definitely right about men and women's sports, and there's an argument, and Olbermann's just the latest person to proffer it, that Riley Gaines would have finished like in 5th place, given her times on this race that some man turned woman won, and so Olbermann makes the argument. So she would have finished in 4th. What's the difference? Well, first of all, the difference between 1st and 5th in those races can be like 4/100ths of a second. So I mean, it's pretty close. But also, okay. So let's say Riley Gaines doesn't win it. There was a 2nd place finisher who's a woman who has a legitimate complaint that she would have won but for the man's entry into this. So I don't get Olbermann's argument. Now, what I would say is that, it's nice having Riley Gaines speak on behalf of women, and maybe that 2nd place finisher should grow a pair. Oh my God, that's so all right. So
was Riley Gaines actually Olympian? I didn't think she was.
That's a good question.
I don't think she was. I think
she was like she was close.
Like a college track star. Is that?
No, she's a swimmer.
Swimmer. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
okay.
Did you see
who was it? Somebody. I don't know who it was. She got 2nd place. She got us in a race to a transgender, and after he left the stand, she got up on the number 1 position and raised her arms.
And nice.
Got a lot of applause.
I mean, I just don't know how they put up with it, and I still don't. I mean, it's such a losing issue. I mean, Trump can get away with a heck of a lot, and well, he's not running again. But I don't think any Democrats running for Congress or the Senate can get away with it. They'll lose if they're on the wrong side of that issue. Meantime,
what's interesting to me though, is that they keep saying, well, this it shouldn't be an issue because there's only like 2 or 3 in like all of women's sports,
which is an argument to why should we make an exception? Why should we kill off women's sports for the sake of 2 or 3 women? I don't get that argument either.
Right, but I think there's been about 12 incidents already this year.
Oh yeah.
So it might have been 2 or 3 a couple years ago, but I think there's a lot of guys that are sick of just getting a participation trophy.
Listen, all I know is that next President Rahm Emanuel was on Bill Maher a month or so ago and said if he were something to the effect of if he had been in junior high, he would have pretended he was a girl so he could go into the girls' bathroom. It was so, I mean, that was beyond anything that even conservatives are saying. I've
been saying that.
Oh yeah. Well, there we go.
As a comedian, though,
enough said.
Not a presidential prospect.
Totally. So, speaking of Trump, this is interesting. He is commuting the sentence or giving clemency to Larry Hoover. Do you know who Larry Hoover is?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Gangster Disciples. Am I right?
Huh?
Gangster Disciples.
Yeah, Gangster Disciples. You know your Gibby. All right.
Yeah.
Would you like to answer the next question on gangs in Chicago?
Look at that. Look at that for those of you who are.
Oh, Rahm Emanuel. Okay.
No, that's actually the.
The signal for the gangs.
Yeah.
What gang was Jeff Fort in Chicago?
Jeff Fort. You got me.
I think
Weatherman.
No, the Weatherman. That's a white radical group. I mean, gee whiz. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it was the Blackstone Rangers, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
It's been a while. We'll get Carol Marine to cover this. Yeah, Larry Hoover. We should have Carol Marine come back. She should find out if Jeff Ford is posthumously, if I assume he's dead. Maybe he's not. If he should be pardoned. And maybe find whatever happened to Helen Voorhees Brock. But Larry Hoover, here's the problem. Trump commutes his sentence, but it's a federal sentence, which means he's going to go to state prison, and he's probably going to want to say, no, man, I like it in federal prison.
Has he been in federal prison?
I believe he was in federal prison. And, it's the same thing. Andy McCarthy pointed this out with Derek Chauvin, because Trump wanted to. There was a movement by Ben Shapiro to commute the sentence of Chauvin. And by the way, happy anniversary to 5 years sober to George Floyd. Did you see that? I mean, I didn't make that one up. It's too good. As a matter of fact, it's tasteless, and I disavow that. But apparently, it was the 5-year anniversary. They even had a march. George Floyd rally a few days ago, and I confess I forgot to wear a mask when I played golf that day. But
a buddy of mine who lives in Minneapolis actually drove by the memorial and put a $20 bill in the statue's hand.
So here's the thing. It's as with Derek Chauvin, the police officer who's spending a lot of time in prison. Andy McCarthy said Trump doesn't want to commute that because Derek Chauvin wants to serve time if he has to serve time in a federal prison. He'll be eaten up alive in a state prison.
Sure.
And I'm not sure where he is right now. So, yeah, it's a mixed.
New Orleans prison would probably be the most preferable place to.
Well, sure. Where are are those guys still on the lam?
I think there's 2 left. I think they got 8. 8 out of 10. Haven't
been following that as closely as I should. Okay. Tom and Bradley.
One more thing on Larry Hoover.
Go ahead,
that might be why Trump did it. It's like you know.
Oh yeah. It's 8-dimensional chess. Donald Trump. Sure. Yeah. Got it. And he picks up some, the black gang vote. Anyway, Tom and Bradley, Channel 9, I believe, ratted out Danny Davis, the congressman. He got the names mixed up. Those 2 kids who got killed in D.C., the guy who yelled "Free Palestine," and the 2 kids who got shot and killed. He got the wrong names for the victims in a press release that he issued from the Congress of the United States of America. Got the wrong names. But
whose names did he use?
I forget. I don't know whose names those are. David Aker and Rachel. I mean, I have no idea who those people are. He gets the wrong names, but I will say this: he did put the names in italics. Okay, which is nice. That's cool. And also, when I did mornings on WLSAM, I swear there was one time we were interviewing Danny Davis, doing a phoner, and I would be willing to bet he was on his toilet at the time. You heard the echo. I didn't hear a flush, but I mean, so
did you hear?
He's Danny Davis. He could do what he wants, I guess. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap. So, hey, can I really be self-indulgent here? Like I'm not usually, but
yeah, sure.
So
usually you don't do it before the D block though. So
right, I'm advancing. So I'm just a fanboy, right? My whole I just want to, on Twitter, I want people to notice me, like these people that I have respect for, whom you don't, but like Jonah Goldberg. Okay. To me, he was like the heir to William F. Buckley, and it's a job that just one person can't do. Although I have to say that he once criticized me because I was making suggestions, like this is years ago, that he should have Victor Davis Hanson on his podcast. Mm-hmm. And he thought, it's a little weird to make a suggestion. Well, I didn't think it was weird. Okay, but anyway, I mean, I think he's he's brilliant. The first time I interviewed him, I said on the radio, I said that I'd subscribed to National Review since 1968, and this was a thrill to be talking to him. And he said, I said it was the October issue of National Review, and he said, "Oh yeah, that's the one with the Phyllis Schlafly centerfold," which was really funny, and I had no comeback. This is funny. He's brilliant. I mean, obviously, and it's duly noted, he allegedly has Trump derangement syndrome, and I voted for Trump, and I'm sure he didn't. But in any event, I got his attention a few days ago. Oh yeah,
wow,
got his attention. Oh yeah. So Abe, there's nothing. It's nothing better than Jew on Jew arguing. Okay, so Abe Greenwald, who writes for Commentary, he wrote a newsletter, and he writes one every day. And this was about how he loves how Trump is going after Harvard, and he wants him to give it as hard as he possibly can to Harvard because of how light it has been, and actually promoted anti-Semitism. And of course, there's
they actually have it codified into their admission policy,
pretty much,
don't they?
Yeah, pretty much. So I mean, they're anti-Semitic. I mean, that's all there is to it. So he wants them to go after and withdraw, hold back funds, and and do whatever he has. And of course, you can make the argument that the administration is overzealous and it's bad, and it's going to boomerang at some point. And and Abe Greenwald argued, he cited like David Ben-Gurion, in World War II, I guess. The British were fighting the Nazis. They also had a white paper saying that the Jews shouldn't settle in Palestine, and Ben-Gurion's attitude was, well, we're going to support the British right now, and when we get to the white paper part, then we'll deal with that one at a time. Okay, which is pretty practical. And that was Abe Greenwald's argument in his newsletter. Well, basically, like the same day, Jonah, who writes this G file every Friday, was saying you can't trust Trump in the long run. It's not even going to be good for Israel. It's arbitrary and capricious. His whole argument was that Trump, remember, was trying to give asylum to the white Africans, and that this is a minority. And of course, the argument can be made, well, what about all these other minorities from other countries? You can't be arbitrary and capricious like that. And he even cited Pat Buchanan, who, made a decent argument at one point about how the U.S. shouldn't support Israel. He had the isolationist view. And, he even went so far as to say, there was an amen corner in Congress, and it was all about the Jews, guys like Goldberg being helped out by blacks named Leroy, who were doing their fighting for the Jews. And okay, at least it was consistent. But then Buchanan later on, I don't know, was it Serbia or Croatia, who we decided to fight for, and Buchanan cited well, those are good Christian nations. Okay, and that's the kind of arbitrariness that you don't really want to see. And so Goldberg's argument was you can't trust Trump, and eventually at some point it's going to come to bite you. Greenwald's argument was, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And I wrote a tweet. Okay, really intellectual kind of tweet, which Chris just put up a second ago, which said, Jonah with a real good G file today, but then Abe Greenwald had a real good newsletter and commentary. Maybe we could get Thomas Aquinas. Didn't he reconcile Aristotelian logic with Catholic doctrine to harmonize the two columns? And Jonah responded, and I show you right there, Chris and Tim, investigating. Okay. And then they both liked my tweet. Now, here's the mystery. I can't find their likes anymore. I'm wondering if they withdrew the likes, but the investigating is stuck there. I don't even need to get a photo of it and save it.
So the likes disappeared, or you just can't?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know how to find them. Anyway,
because I know that X doesn't show you who likes your tweets anymore. They don't.
Okay, maybe that's it. That it's not there. I can't find it, but I got their attention.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got their attention, and
nothing like pulling out the Thomas Aquinas.
Oh, you got it. For the big moments, you got to go scholastic medieval scholars. I mean, you got to do it, and it's kind of funny to bring in the Catholic scholar with the two Jews arguing. I thought it was, Anyway, I told
boy, that sounds like a setup to a joke, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Two Jews arguing when a Catholic scholar comes into the room.
Yeah, and then this grasshopper comes to the bar, okay, and the bartender says, "Wow, do you know we have a drink named after you?" And the grasshopper says, "You have a drink named Larry?" So it's anyway. I told you it was going to be self-indulgent. We can edit that out, Chris, if you'd like to. So
all 6 minutes or just the joke?
Rub it in, man. Yeah, it wasn't worth the setup. It really wasn't. So let's go to Julius Sharp right now. You know who Julius Sharp is?
I do not.
He is the producer of Family Guy, which I've watched some recent episodes. It's a hysterical show. And I don't remember it being as filthy as it is now.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's all, maybe I'm just getting old or whatever. I mean, they had an episode and somebody told me it wasn't all that recent. It was about Jesus getting laid. I mean, they had an episode about this, and there were anyway. So it's pretty out there. So he has a tweet that says 90% of parenting is just doing laundry while getting screamed at. And, that's cute. It's funny. But what I'm thinking is, first of all, if you're calling it parenting, you've already lost the battle. Okay. You've already given in to,
right.
Yeah.
Right. It's like
the zeitgeist or whatever word is.
If you use the word adulting, you're not.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it's just, and all I can say is, Jesus Christ from the Family Guy producer yet. So even he's cratered on this. Anyway,
one of my favorite South Park episodes are the one where they find out how this Family Guy is written, and it's just
I remember it.
Remember that they just a manatee tank full of idea balls. They throw like the manatees push like 3 idea balls down the chute, like Gary Coleman mariachi band, and and that forms the joke. And the big scandal is they took out the Muhammad ball.
Okay.
So would the Family Guy? Here's my question: would the Family Guy have an episode about Muhammad going to kindergarten to pick a bride? They would not. They would not. So, ooh, look how edgy we are. Yeah, right. It's very edgy to make fun of the religion whose main central tenet is to forgive everybody.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. They'll only go so far. Did we talk about the Tina Fey remake of the Four Seasons last week? I can't even remember now.
I don't remember.
But anyway, there's the gay couple. They're even a throuple at one point, and it's like they're just part of all the friends, and it's totally acceptable. But somehow the Steve Carell character, who's cheating on his wife or has left her for a younger woman, he's somehow a bad guy. Okay. And I'm just thinking, well, we're allowing anything. Sure. Anything goes. What's wrong with a guy
because
just deciding that she's a little too young, old for him. He wants somebody younger. You're countenancing these thruples. They're perfectly fine to be with. Nobody's raising an eyebrow whatsoever. But guy gets divorced, And that's a bad thing?
Because
I
it's
guess.
ageist. That's what it is. It's ageist.
Yeah.
The fact that wealthy, successful men like to trade in the old clunker for a newer model is insulting to women.
Right.
Whereas as far as
Totally.
the thruple, it comes from the same place that if you turn down a proposition from a transgender woman, that you're transphobic.
Right.
It's
That's where the lesbians are getting in trouble right now, which I love. I mean, because that's your ultimate, the three of a kind, three of a kind beats two pair,
sure.
in the poker game of victimization or identitarianism. Because I mean, if you check the boxes, you're a lesbian, you're a woman, and now all of a sudden you're a bad guy, girl. What? Not why? I'm so glad
Well, yeah,
I'm so old.
once you've committed though, once you've committed to one set of genitalia, it does. It's like it's a normal woman. You don't look like one. No, no, the
I don't know. I think
different flavor.
you got to be flexible. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the weekly wrap. Yeah, Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the weekly wrap. So, by the way, Tim, at any point, just interrupt and say, I want to talk about something else. I just.
Okay. I think we still have all the topics from the A block that we never touched.
What didn't we touch that you'd like to talk about? I thought we talked about a lot of those things. Okay, but maybe in the post show meeting we can discuss. Oh yeah, we don't have one. All right, but I'll start with this. So there's a WGN news tweet, and it's about the Sky game. WGN TV news. The Chicago Sky. Are you familiar with the Chicago Sky?
I think it's the basketball team, right?
Yeah, not bad.
And then there's isn't there a troublemaker on there that keeps is that where we're going?
That's where we're going. Her name is Angel Reese. Okay, so here's the WGN TV news tweet, which I just lost here. Okay, listen to this. The Chicago Sky lost to the LA Sparks today, despite Angel Reese scoring 13 points with 12 rebounds and 4 assists. Camila Cardoso also got 12 points, and Courtney Vandershoot and Rebecca Allen added 11 points apiece. Now, this, I believe, is what hereinafter should be referred to as a deep cut on women's basketball into the fourth person on the roster in the tweet yet. I mean, it feels like the roots of FM radio to me. Let's play Procol Harum's Lime Street Blues, which is the B side of Whiter Shade of Pale. I mean, this is you've got to be totally into the Sky, which nobody is into. Okay. And
one of my favorite gags is when Britney Griner, when everyone was saying free Britney. You're into women's basketball? Oh yeah. What team does she play for?
Doesn't matter, man. Doesn't matter. So anyway, my favorite radio station is 670 The Skoros, of course. Chicago's progressive radio sports talk, because you got to be a leftist, not just a knowledgeable sports geek, but you got to be a leftist as well. So they now have the woman sportscaster, finally, after my urging for many, many years, that Layla Rahimi has her own show. Well, she shares it with another guy, but she's got the first name on it. She's got the regular gig, and they also have her as an analyst for the Chicago Sky games. Okay, apparently they're actually broadcasting on the radio.
Wow.
Women's basketball. I mean, I know that people don't even want to listen to the men's basketball, the Bulls game on the radio. But what I was wondering is, and if on the show or elsewhere, and I, invite our listeners or, people who follow me on Twitter, because I'm certainly not going to check this out, if Layla Rahimi has addressed the latest issue. And the issue is that this Angel Reese that we just mentioned before, she had accused Indiana Fever fans, that's Caitlin Clark's team,
mm-hmm.
of yelling some racial things at her at a game, and the WNBA investigated it and said they couldn't find anything. All right. Now, I know people have reported that ESPN, which went whole hog on the accusations, didn't report on the results of the investigation. I'm just wondering if 670 the Scoros took any time to, since they covered the Sky Games, to say that Angel Reese, there's a rebuttable presumption that she's a freaking liar. Okay. And she's the star of the team. So, I'm just interested in that. Not that, but you know what? I don't have standing to talk about this because I just don't care about.
Well, it's I probably shouldn't be doing this, but I was watching Gutfeld the other night, and I believe it was Tyrus that said, and it was just brilliant. He says it comes down to basic economics, okay? The demand for racism far outstrips the supply.
It's very good. He's right. He's right.
So
He's
when
right
that happens, you've got to fabricate it. You've got to meet the demand, and that applies to Jussie. That applies to Angel. That applies to who was the NASCAR driver? That,
right,
the garage pole.
Yeah, the noose in the garage. Sure,
Bubba.
Right, Bubba. I mean, Jussie Smollett basically, sucked all the oxygen out of it, and that I'm this one for a long time held out, and thought, he was being set up, because that's the one conspiracy theory I wanted to believe in. But the thing is that he's even agreed. I saw this recently, to pay like $50,000 to some charity as a settlement of the money that he owes the Chicago police for their wasted investigation. So, that's that's more than a tacit admission of guilt there. So, but he agreed to do that. So, I mean, that's really good. I want to know how great is your tinfoil hat, Tim? Let's talk about this for a second.
It's
let somebody.
I haven't been wearing it much because it turns out most of these conspiracies, what used to be conspiracies, are coming to be true.
Right?
Did you hear the latest? Is they're going to I believe that 3 of White House aides have till tomorrow to respond to whether they'd be willing to testify on the auto pen scandal. And if they don't do it by tomorrow, that subpoenas are coming.
Yeah, is that I'm exhausted. Really? Is that really the one that, I mean, do you need to have an auto? Does it need to be done by pen, the signature? I mean, is it not valid? All these pardons.
Who was it? I can't say. I heard someone interviewed. Well, it was a senator, and he said, I use my auto pen all the time when I'm signing birthday greetings, when I'm signing, letters. Thank you for your concern on this issue. He goes, that's what the auto pen is for. You don't use it on legislation. You don't use it on pardons. That's something that has to be signed.
All right. I don't know why.
Of course, the question is, the question is, does he know that they were signing?
Does he really have to know? I mean, I think I
kind of.
I don't even mind it so much that Woodrow Wilson's wife took over while he had a debilitating stroke. It's more like a first team that you elect. Didn't Hillary call it a presidential partnership? Which might have ruffled Bill's feathers
sure.
at one point. Yeah. And I think Michelle Obama referred to her and Barack as like the mom and dad of America, which, I just love. I just love people acting like they're my parents. I think this nation needed a dad, and his name was George Washington. Okay. That's at the founding. But, I'm up to not 7 years, but I'm at 10+ right now. And I don't need some punk in the White House telling me they're my freaking dad. Okay.
Well,
and their paternalism.
Well,
so,
you see, the thing is, if they said that he was your big brother, that would implicate something else.
Oh, well, there you go. All right, should we turn to the ridiculous here?
Sure.
Dr. Pop Culture has a tweet. Sometimes you just see these tweets from, I guess that I'm the sucker for this, from way back, and referring to cultural artifacts. And this is one. It was like the 23 and 20, the 48th anniversary of the last Brady Bunch hour on ABC. Not the show, not the Brady Bunch, but the Brady Bunch hour. And they show the Brady Bunch there. And my reaction to that is, so America basically was sick of the Brady Bunch by 1977. Okay, so everybody's talking about, how stupid we were in the 70s and 80s, but America wasn't that stupid. We were sick of the Brady Bunch by then. Now, I did have some people on Twitter note that it's not the real Jan on this Brady Bunch hour. It's somebody else substituting for the actual Jan on in this picture of the Brady Bunch. But
yeah, she was done with it too.
Yeah, I would think so. And somebody tweeted to me, a guy named Rick on Twitter, that showing that this was the end of the Brady Bunch. It was the canary in the coal mine, because Carter's malaise speech came a short time later about America. Well, although I don't think it was that short a time. I mean, Carter had just turned president. When was his malaise speech? Like later on, right? That's what did him. You don't remember.
I can't put a year on it.
Yeah,
but I know that probably when they were doing the Brady Bunch Variety Hour, that Eve Plum at that point was probably filming Dawn, Portrait of a Teenage Runaway.
And now that is what I was looking for. That was what I was totally looking for. All right. Can I be any more self-indulgent in the what do you got coming up? Tim, you got a gig you can promote?
Michigan, I'm going to be in Minneapolis. I'm going to be in Minneapolis in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be back at Acme Comedy Company. I think I'm going to be recording a CD that week. So wow. I need another CD out, because the last one never went to CD. It's just available online.
Yeah, I'll be getting a CAT scan pretty soon, and we'll be putting that out as well.
Really?
No.
You're gonna Katie your colonoscopy?
Well, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. We'll talk. We'll tease the folks with that. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap.
And that's the Weekly Wrap on radio and television. Follow Bruce at Bruce Wolf Shy on Twitter and Tim at timslagle.com. The Weekly Wrap with Bruce Wolf, a CP Pods production.